All right, we have the big game 9-hole cup. It's at the Milano. I think I'm gonna go old school today and shoot these as individual videos for each hole. So we got brand new pin placements. Never seen these before, so we'll see how it goes, and we'll check out each hole individually, and I'll just post them that way if you're looking for one hole. You can just look at it, and I'll put it in a playlist. Let's check them out one hole at a time. One hole at a time. All right, I'm at Tommy's site. I could use for these ones, I could use a Golf Clash notebook, but they're not updating their stuff, so here we go. All right, hole number one. First par 4 I ever got a hole in one on. And I can tell you, it's unlikely. So you can go straight through this area right here. And if you put the ball guide, you get a bounce. Like you're getting a bounce like in this area right here. And it always seems like you need to be off on the side over here. And it's tricky to get the bounce to get over. And you really kind of got to work on it. Even if you're making a wind adjustment, it always seems like it pushes it off of this right here and you hit the sand. So like if you started off on the side trying to get your bounce over, if you got an upper developed extra mile, you can try and go where you're going more along this edge right here, and you may end up getting over but failing and getting caught up in this rough. But I'm unsure if it really, I'm not sure. The old pin placement right here, it looks like they've moved the pin over to this spot. I'm unsure whether that's going to make any difference to me or not. Like, you may not be able to go for the hole-in-one anymore because the pin might not be in its in the path. But getting on in one and either making a short chip or a putt. And this is an old hole, so being over here and having to make a putt over to there would be kind of bad. But being up close and making this short chip to get on in one and picking up an eagle is always better than having to hit something from distance. The shot from over here, it's easy to get out into this range, and you can get up into this area, but this shot has always been like before, like if you were getting up into here, it always seemed like there was an adjustment that you had to make, but it always seemed like it made like an irregular bounce, and I never really had a lot of luck with that. I made a few shots from out there, but I was in the right spot like every time, and like getting it to go in the hole, just it didn't want to go home, ball. Go home. I am in any tournament that this hole's in, I am always going to go for the green to get up here, because you got to remember on a par 4, the whole goal is eagle. Okay? Hole in one is nice, but this is a bone ass. We're going for eagle. And getting up here and making a short little chip for eagle is a whole lot higher percentage. I mean, think about it. If you just came out here and you set 100 balls in this area and you took this shot 100 times, how many times you're going to make it? Versus if you get over here. Now, granted, you got to get over there. But in my luck range, about 50% of the time I'm over here in the right spot. So that means 50% of the time I'm going to make an eagle. Whereas, like, are you going to make 50% of this shot out here? You got to set this shot up, and you got to have a great, if you know what your numbers are, and with variable wind, those numbers can change just a little bit depending on which way the wind's blowing, and you still have to hit it perfect. Whereas over here, if you can just get to that spot, you're not guaranteed you're going to make it, but you're 50% of the time. So I think for my money in tournament play, I'm always going to go for this. Even in one-on-one play, if I can make it over there, if the wind's right with a lower power ball, I'm always going to try and get over in one and get on. But today I'm going to demo. I'm going to come out here and see what it looks like, see if it's opened up in here, see what club we can get down into. And you don't really need to bring out a big ball on this, I don't think. We can take this with just about anything, and it might be beneficial to come out with a lower wind ball so you could cut the wind down. But if you're playing rookie, it's not always, like usually you try and save those lower wind balls for when you're playing rough bumps, where you've got a rough bump and some wind angles may make it so that you have to involve the sand. And if you have a low wind ball, it could keep you from having to adjust over the sand, and then you don't have to worry about that. Whereas when we got these open shots like this, I'm not sure it's going to make any difference. We'll just go out there and see what it looks like. I'm going to take my number 2 bag. Number 2. See if we can get out there with the number 2 bag. I'm just going to lay it up out there and see what it looks like. We'll start off. I'm not sure on the shot going into the cup. I'm gonna take a Quasar just in case I need just in case I need a little bit of spin. Let me go look at that one more time. What does Tommy say? Tommy says we're supposed to do a 10%, so we'll do a 10%. I got no idea, so let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go. Getting out on the course. Freddie Rick. Always beware of anybody that has two first names. I'm not sure. Let's see where the pin is. Like where would be, like really we'd want to get kind of like in this area. Three, 6. I'm gonna just rough bump it out there. If I brought out a bigger ball, I could get the bounce to go over. We'll try and do a second bounce rough bump. We'll get cute. We'll just see what it looks like from up in that spot. Oh, I missed the rough, but that's okay. If I brought out a katana, I could have came up a little bit closer and I could have had more side spin to try and get deeper, more from where I'm at, more to the right. And that would cut my distance. If you draw a line to that area, I'm outside of that arc. So if I wanted to cut that distance a little bit. You can work on that shot. Now, you don't want to get too far to the right because then you may put those trees into play. So there's a fine line out there on where you can get. The key thing is that wherever you get, you want to get to that same spot every time. So like once you find a spot that you like, you want to get to that same spot every single time. So the second shot is very consistent. And my Kingfisher, now I like the fact that I'm in short iron, and there's Max. There's Min, so I'm about mid club. So 4 equals divided by 1.6, 2.75 rings. I put on just 2 backspin. If I can get where I can see the ball guide. That should be 2.75 rings. Here's 2.75. Exactly. Getting it perfect. In the hole. I like the fact that you're in short iron range out there. I can tell you that. Before just coming into the cup, you were having to, I don't know, anybody that's played this hole a lot in the past, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It always just seemed like it took an irregular bounce, or like, even if you adjusted for the wind, it didn't always do exactly what you thought it was going to do. But that spot right there, the spot where I was before, on that little peanut-shaped green, as it was kind of going uphill, and you can see where that little ridge is in the course. This might not be a bad spot. There you go. That's how to get an eagle on hole number 1. Hole number 1. That's one way to do it. The other way is to do what my opponent did. My opponent just got a little, I'm not sure if it was a topspin thing. I'd have to go back and watch the video on that. I wasn't really paying attention to it, but I like the shot that my opponent took getting out to that area, but I do think that where the pin placement is now is it looks like it's not going to make that, like if you can get to the right spot, you'll be in short iron. And from where I was somewhere in this range right here, probably like out in this area. If we draw a line with the trees, you know, as long as we're on this side of that line, but you could try and work yourself up into here, and that would probably be minimum short iron as opposed to mid. and that was with a power 2 ball. So if you or a power 1 ball, so you could up that to a power 2 ball, even getting out into this area, because there wasn't a lot of effort to get out into this area. And probably with a power 2 ball, it would push you back. Now, I was pretty close to dead mid, and if you bring out a power 2 ball, it might kind of put you in between. So it's something to work on with your clubs. And that is a great shot. If you got lower developed clubs, Kingfisher is still a great club. The one thing about a Kingfisher is that it starts off, what's good about it is it's accurate, it has ball guide, and it has backspin. And when you first start playing, those are key. Like having topspin's great, but when you're making those shots to the cup, having a little bit of backspin so that you can control the ball is always really good. Where a Kingfisher's weak is it's in its raw distance and in topspin. But if you set yourself up right for the clubs that you have, the Kingfisher is great. And if you've got upper developed clubs, the Kingfisher is still great. In the in-between stuff, like a Hornet, just don't upgrade your Hornet all the way to level 9. I think it's better at level 8, personally. All right, there you have it. Hole number 1. Thanks for watching.